Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Today, having finished with all the problems Modi has had, what must he do? What must the BJP do? Well, the answer is quite plain really. Many things have been pending. They just have to be translated into action. Now we've heard a great deal for about 8 or 9 years. I'm talking about the Uniform Civil Code. Why is it that no political party has said anything about it since 1956, when the Hindu Civil Code was imposed on all of us Hindus? Why? Look, the whole thing, it was raked up a long time ago, when the Supreme Court said, the famous Shabano case. Well, this lady had been divorced at the age of 60. She claimed maintenance and support. The High Court rejected her appeal, her thing. The Supreme Court upheld and said yes, she must get maintenance, support and so on, which the Rajiv Gandhi government, at his instance, overturned and said no, she cannot get any maintenance as per the Muslim personal law. Now the Supreme Court at the time had said there is an urgent need for a uniform civil code. Now, what does the Hindu Civil Code do? It proved beyond all shadow of doubt that Nehru and his entire family and the Congress party with it are all for dividing the country completely. Because none of the other religions have anything like this. Only Hindus. What do I mean? The Hindu Civil Code applies only to Hindus. Muslims are out of it, Christians are out of it. I will admit, it is virtually the same as the Christian Civil Code. They probably live by it anyway. But the Muslims? Now remember the basic tenets of our constitution: equality, secularism and democracy. Now all three have been murdered. So when Rahul Gandhi says democracy is in danger, who from? The Congress party and Rahul Gandhi and such people. How? Why? Well, as I said, it applies only to Hindus, this Hindu Civil Code. So where's the equality? Where's the secular nature of our constitution, which every member of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, every MLC and every MLA throughout the country swear to uphold and defend? Have they defended secularism? No. Have they defended and upheld equality? No. They've created differences here. And democracy? Well, what does democracy mean? It means the rule of the majority, by the majority, for the majority. And here the majority are being penalized. So, where is democracy? Now, the other problem is this. You've got Hindus in the middle in the civil code, or under the civil code, being sandwiched on both sides. The Hindus have become the filling in the sandwich, which the Christians and the Muslims keep chomping on. And you call this, well, I call this constitution a very bad joke. That's what it's been turned into. What else can you say? That is why a uniform civil code is necessary now. Not in 5 years or 10 years' time, but now. You want equality, secularism? You want democracy? It's a very easy way of doing it. Tweak the Hindu Civil Code just a little. Change the wording. Instead of Hindu, take out Hindu and say Indian. That's it. That's all you need. Who are the only people who are going to scream against it? I'll tell you. All those Muslim men and Muslim clerics whose power seems to be eroded as a result. Why? The inequalities created by this Hindu civil code and the Muslim personal law. What? Muslim women are the least equal among all. They have no rights. She could be divorced with a triple talaq and thrown out of the house, literally. Where would she go? She cannot go back to her ancestral home. They won't let her come back. She cannot stay in her husband's home or anywhere else. They won't allow it. And he does not have to give her any maintenance, nothing. So what does she do? Where does she go? And if there are children in tow, who looks after them? Now, in a country where the constitution guarantees equality, why are Muslim women so unequal? And at the same time, Muslim men folk have it all their own way. Why? They can marry as often as they like, or they could. Why? 4 wives, triple talaq, all 4 gone. Another 4 come in, they can get 100, 200 wives like this. Naturally, they don't want to give up that privilege. But having done away with triple talaq, they're now facing problems. You cannot do this anymore. You have to go through the law courts. And if you go through the law courts, you have to provide maintenance for this former wife and children, if any. So you see, an attempt was made, a beginning was made by this particular government when it did away with triple talaq. I'm pretty certain every Muslim woman is all for them. And they should be as well. Because nowhere in this country have they ever received such protection from the law. At no time. Small wonder that Muslims from Bangladesh and Pakistan start swarming into this country. Why? They get everything. They don't even have to work. They get reservations. Why? In a country which promises equality and secularism, why do you have minorities? Where does that come from? Why do you have reservations? I mean, Muslims and Christians are not illiterates. If they're backward, it's only because they refuse to let their children go to school. So whose fault is it? Why should they be treated as backwards? Now, what is the other? Is there any other objection against the Uniform Civil Code? I don't think so. There cannot be. Because once it is a Uniform Civil Code, everybody in this country who is a citizen of India comes under it. There's no getting away from it. You either stay within the law or you get out. Or you will be penalized as an ordinary lawbreaker. At the moment, what do Muslims do? They have the best of both worlds. You see, if a Muslim is caught stealing, and he will never opt for Shariat law. Why? Because if you're caught stealing, they chop your hand off. And he won't allow that. No. Then he wants the IPC, where he gets 3 to 4 months in prison, and that's it, and he's back out again. But when it comes to marriage, he'll have at least 4 wives. Divorce them and have 4 more. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? How many laws do you want in this one country of ours? Why are so many much more equal than others? And why are so many less equal than others? Now, when are we going to get out of this nonsense? Don't you think it's about time? Do we want to move towards becoming a Muslim or a Christian nation? You see, most of us are educated illiterates. We've never thought about this Hindu civil code and its full impact. What does it do? What are the effects and after effects of it? What does it do to the very constitution that we are supposed to be living under? Oh, we swear to uphold and defend it. We do nothing of the sort. We make a laughing stock of it. And we have a great laugh over it. See, we got away with it. It's about time it stopped. So Mr. Modi and Mr. BJP, whoever you are, Uniform Civil Code now. Now once you understand the reasoning for this Uniform Civil Code, the other two go with it. It's called the CAA and I think it's the NCR, or is it NRC? National Citizens Register. These are not going to hurt anybody who is an Indian citizen. These should help to identify every one of those illegal migrants. And those have to be sent back to wherever they came from. Whether they're Pakistani, whether they're Chinese, whether they're Bangladeshis, or Rohingyas, or from anywhere else, or Afghanistan. They have to go back. They've got no business being here. Let's get our act together. We have worked very hard for 75 years to get to this state. All they're doing is coming here and messing it all up again. So please, let's get these done and dusted, implemented and enforced, whichever way you like. And those who are responsible for smuggling these illegal migrants in and helping them settle down, giving them ration cards, Aadhaar cards, voter cards, driving licenses, PAN cards, they should be hauled up and punished in such a way that they never even think of trying it again. Throw the book at them. They deserve it. Now this is only the beginning. The Uniform Civil Code is something which the central government must formulate, enact and implement. It is not something the state should be doing, because then you'll have anomalies everywhere. The Hindu Civil Code was enacted and implemented by the center. Every state had to accept it and live accordingly. Similarly, the Uniform Civil Code is not something for the states. It is something for the center to formulate, enact and implement. There is no room for any state to say, no, we will not. They have no choice. They have to. I mean, to say that Goa is the only state which has a Uniform Civil Code, I think that's a crying shame. The whole country should have had it 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But successive Congress governments, especially that family, I think you know the one I'm referring to, they don't want a Uniform Civil Code. That is why their silence on this has been deafening. What is it, 75 years? Why? Why have they been so quiet about it? especially after the Supreme Court in 1986 specifically said it is necessary. Still nobody? Why? Kejriwal says, but we will join up with the Congress only if they say, okay, we will be with you against this ordinance. He can't. Because Rahul Gandhi's father was one of those who overturned the Supreme Court decision. You think he's going to? I don't think so. If he does, God help him. And God will be very hard put to do so. Now, along with this, another one, the anti-conversion law. Why did Nehru in the 1950s recognize the right to conversion? It was a central law. So why are you trying to get the states to implement the different versions of it? Again, this is something that should come from the center, and every state has to fall in line. That's part of being a member of the Union of India. Anybody wanting to leave will be guilty of sedition. That means treason. Let's get that straight. If the center passes or enacts a law, the states have to fall in line. There's no getting away from that. Now, there's just two. There are a whole lot of things like this. These are big ones. So why is there nothing done on so many other things? Please listen to this one. Let it sink in. Because this is very important. The longer you allow these anomalies to continue, don't talk to me about the Constitution and constitutional rights. Why have all law ministers and law ministry since 1947 been in a, how shall I put it, a stupor? Or a Rip Van Winkle type of sleep? Except this one has lasted 75 years, not 20. When is he going to wake up? Finally, having been prodded into action, they've woken up. They say, we want people to tell us what do they think. Why? Was there any such request from Nehru when he formulated and enacted the Hindu Civil Code? Was there? No. This is something which is necessary. Hindus know it, Christians know it, so do the Muslims. But resistance to give up some of their privileges. And the only people who have privileges they don't want to give up are the Muslim menfolk. Let's get that straight. Nothing to do with the women folk. If the truth were known, I'm pretty certain they hate the Muslim personal law when it comes to this triple talaq and no maintenance, no nothing. And some of the practices they go in for, it makes those women folk cringe. All your halala practices and so on. I don't want to mention them here. They would be the most grateful, believe me. And I really feel sorry for them because of what they've had to put up with for centuries. At least in this country, let's make a start. Let's give them a fair deal too. Give all women folk a fair deal. And let's make them all equal. Our Constitution is supposed to guarantee it. Let's make it a fact. Otherwise, don't call yourselves Indian. Don't even call yourselves educated. You're not. You are what I would call educated illiterates. Please wake up and do something about it. We'll carry on with this in the next episode. There's much more to come. Thanks, folks. See you.